So I'm Hannah Joyce. I'm an L&D advisor and the founder of Upskill Marketplace. And the reason Upskill Marketplace was created is because L&D and HR professionals are spending 2,500 operational hours each year trying to find trainers. And I thought that there was definitely a better way. So I've interviewed and onboarded all these amazing trainers onto Upskill Marketplace, just like Tracy. So it's an easy one-stop shop for all of your L&D needs. And Tracy has a wide range of offerings on there, which I will drop a link to in the chat. But thank you all for joining. And with that, I will hand over to Tracy.
Thank you so much, Hannah, and hi, and welcome everybody to this LinkedIn webinar. Just a little bit of, I'm going to fix my camera so you can actually see me properly. Just a little bit of admin, really. Hannah, can I get you to keep an eye on the waiting room for me if anybody else comes in? Thanks. This is a really super packed hour. I've probably got enough material on LinkedIn to talk to you for more than a day. So trying to squash in to 50 minutes is tough. So the one thing I will say is you will get a copy of this because I am going to be talking so quickly to try and pack as much as I can in for you. You're probably going to have a lot of questions, and that's fine. I would ask you to keep until the end. I have left a gap at the end, certainly 10 minutes. For those of you in a hurry, but I can stay on a bit longer, so I can answer any of your questions that you may have to answer on LinkedIn at the end of this. You can quite happily, if you think I might forget that question, pop a question in the chat box as well, and we'll come back to that at the end as well. So without further ado, I am going to just start talking about LinkedIn, and then I can answer your questions at the end. So let me start. Okay. LinkedIn. Why should we be bothered with LinkedIn in the first place? Well, there are over at the moment 760 plus, a million plus users on LinkedIn, and it is growing daily. I think at the start of lockdown, that was only something like 600 million. So you can see how much it's grown in the last 18 months, and it is growing so quickly. And whilst countries like the US and the UK are quite big users of it, there's still quite big areas of the world that are not massive users of this yet and are just catching on to it. So this will grow a lot, I would say, in the next 12 months. 40% of people who are a member of LinkedIn are active daily. Now, when I say active daily, that doesn't necessarily mean posting daily. It means that they come on and they have a look and they have a read. But only 20% of these people dominate the platform, which is quite interesting. And there's a small amount of people who dominate this platform. There are 9 billion content views every week. So 9 billion people are reading posts and watching videos and looking at content on it every single week. And yet there is only 3.5 million people out of those 760 million who post constant content. And I think that's quite interesting, really. And it's actually been proven to be 277% more effective for B2B sales and B2B business and B2B networking than any other social media platform. Why am I telling you all this? Whether you're on here to try and sell, to try and get a new job, headhunting people if you run a recruitment firm, trying to get new business if you run your own company, your client is on LinkedIn. Your market is out there. And if you're not on LinkedIn, making the best of it and trying to be one of those 3.5 million people or those 20% who dominate this platform, you're missing a trick. You really are. So hopefully in the next 45, 50 minutes, I can give you some pointers as to how to start you off or to how to improve what you're already doing. So let's have a look. There are a lot of things to think about on LinkedIn. There's your profile, and we're going to have a real good look at your profile and how to improve it in this webinar. There's also your connections sort of strategy, who to connect to, why, who to prospect with, how to prospect with. We will touch a little bit on that in this time. Making you to be a credible expert, the go-to person on the platform for what it is that you're known for. We can't really cover that in great detail on this session. I'll touch on it briefly how to post, what to post, when to post. I will touch on that as well. How to engage with others and to get the best out of the platform. That's something we'll touch on as well. Turning prospects into lead. We're not going to really have a massive amount of time to look at that in this 50 minutes. Making it part of your day-to-day routine. So there's some points that you need to consider. So let's start having a look at your profile. What we want to be aiming at is getting you to an all-star profile. And you can see on the top here, there's a little box saying all-star. So on your profile, in the little bit of the activity section, which tells you how many people have viewed your posts, and it should have the little box as to whether you're an all-star there. That just means that you've got all 12 sections of your profile completed. And what are those 12 sections? Well, there's your profile picture, your banner, your video, if you've got the new mode in terms of the creator mode, you might not all have that yet. Having a strong headline, making your personal URL. I'm going to tell you how to do all this in a minute, so don't worry about that. Filling in your about section properly. Having a featured section. Filling in your work history and your volunteer section. Looking at your educational and your courses section. Filling out your skills and your expertise section, having enough connections. So for LinkedIn's purpose, they don't really recognize your profile as such unless you have 1,000 plus connections, and then having your recommendations section filled in. So let's have a little look now in terms of your profile and start working our way through it. Now, I would say when I'm normally doing a LinkedIn training session, I'm not talking this quickly and I'm sharing my profile on screen and I'm literally showing you step by step how to do that. I can't do that in this short amount of time. So I've took some screenshots and I'm going to show you. So the first thing we want to do is get our banner right. Now you can use a service such as Canva. I'm sure you've all heard of Canva. It's free of charge to use. But if you've not got a banner picture on there, make sure you fill out your banner picture and try and make it an interesting picture, either you in action or something about what it is you do, and put your contact details on there and what it is you do. So this is really important that you get yourself a professional banner. When I say professional, you don't have to pay somebody to do it. I know there's a lot of companies on LinkedIn at the moment who do this and probably charge anything £200-500 to do you a really fancy banner. This is something that we just did in a very short amount of time using, you know, a program such as Canva. So after that, make sure you've got your headshot on there. It doesn't have to be like a professional one that's been done in a studio, for example, but try and keep it away from like a holiday snap. I've seen a few people on there who've obviously took some pictures when they're in a bar, in the toilet, dressed up, selfie. That's really not LinkedIn. So try and keep it, you know, smiley, friendly, a professional headshot if possible, nice and clear. I think that would be great. Now you can see an orange circle around my picture. That is the creator mode. They're rolling that out slowly at this moment. So you may not have the creator mode yet. If you've got the creator mode, you'll be able to know because you'll see an orange thing around your headshot, especially on your mobile. And that means that you can record a little video here. Now, I can't show you this because I haven't got time to be sort of screen sharing and going live. But if you go onto my profile at the end of this and you click on my picture, there'll be a little video of me saying, hey, I'm Tracy and this is what I do. And you can change that video as much as you want. So if you've got a special offer on, or, you know, you just fancy changing it and saying something different that week, you can change that as much as you like. So make sure you've done that if you've got that option. Everybody's got this option. And that's the option to record. Again, you've got to do this on your mobile phone. The option to record your name. You get 15 seconds. So again, if you listen to mine, it says Tracy Bedwell. You've got to say your name first, but then you get a few more seconds. So I've put on there offering training, consultancy and coaching. This is a really useful tool if you do business overseas and you're not quite sure how to pronounce somebody's name, if you're going to be speaking to them, or equally if you've got a name that people might find it hard to pronounce. This is really helpful for that. But again, you get brownie points for filling that in. The next thing is this heading here. So make sure you fill your heading in. You only get 220 characters in this heading, so you don't get a lot of space. If you don't fill it in, LinkedIn will automatically lift it from your work history section. So if your title is sales manager or managing director, it'll just pick that up and put it in there for you, but you can amend that and change that. I think it's really, really important. I mean, I've just changed mine recently. It says something different again now, but I think it's really, really important that you try and put in there what it is that you do, right? And I've put keywords in there. Keywords are important here because Google search engines, for example, and even LinkedIn search engines finds profiles on keywords. So I've got some keywords on here, and you've got my top keyword there, bespoke in-house training. That is what we're known for. And then, you know, so I've got some keywords there as well as that. But try and get that, what it is you do for somebody, so that people will be interesting. A lot of people are only literally going to look at this part of your profile to make a decision whether they're going to speak to you or not. So this is really, really key. Some of you may have these, so you can see what you can actually put on here, what it is you're offering. If you've got the creator mode, you can also put some hashtags on here, so you can talk about what it is that you're most interested in and what your posts are going to be about. So please make sure that this section is as filled in as you possibly can. The other thing you need to look at is editing your public URL, so that if people look for you on Google, they can find you. So if you click onto this little button here, it will allow you to personalize your URL. It'll normally say linkedin.com in, and then it may have your name on there, but it'll have a whole bunch of numbers. So I've just changed mine to my name and then what it is I do. Again, limited amount of numbers on there, but if you've not changed your URL, make sure you change it so people can find you. The next part of your profile is the About section. This is the one that when I'm working with people on their LinkedIn profile, this is the section that normally needs the most work. You get 2,600 characters. It's not a lot. It sounds a lot. It really isn't. You've got to write your About section, not in the third party. Okay, imagine I always say you were in a room, a networking event, and you get to speak to somebody in that networking event, and they say to you, what do you do? This is really what your About section is. It's your elevator pitch, I would say. So describe what makes you tick, what excites you. I think also explain your present role and what it is you do for people. So what problems do you solve? How do you help people? Highlight any successes. So what results have you had for your customers? Why should they use you? Why should they talk to you? What's in it for them to chat with you? A little bit about yourself too. And be authentic in there, you know, have some humor in there, but try and keep it business focused if you can, but warm is what I would say. And have a little bit about what it is you do outside of work as well. Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any interests? Do you volunteer? I always think that your outside passions and volunteer roles and things like that can really help reinforce your personal strengths. Make your first sentence count. Hook them in.
Oh yeah.
We've got someone not on mute. There we go. Hook them in. So try and start it off really interesting. I always like the ones that start with something like, when I was 17, and I always think, what did they do when they were 17? Hook them in. Hook them in. Cut the jargon and the buzzwords as well in this. This is not like a marketing piece. It's just you talking to your potential audience. So we don't want things like, I offer strategic, I am very motivated. They're not interested. Oh, that's a spell check. That's meant to say stories are good. So as I say, like, start it off with something like, when I was 11, I did this, and it led me to think about this, which has led me to where I am now. Break up the text so it's easy to read. Don't just put loads and loads of text on there, because people will get bored and stop reading it. And at the end of it, ask for what you want. Put a call to action on there. So this is how you contact me. This is how you can make a meeting with me. I'm going to give you an example of some of these now. So here's two different people's about sections. I have stolen these off two very high profile LinkedIn coaches. So you'll see LinkedIn's full of LinkedIn coaches who do nothing else but this, and some of them charge a lot of money. Here are two that charge a lot of money, and I've took these last night so you can see them. They're quite different, both of them, really. So you can sort of see they both pretty much do the same thing. One of them is quite succinct, I would say. It tells you a little bit about her, what it is they do, how they can help you, and it has the sort of contact points at the bottom here, and a little bit about her. I like it because it's short and it's concise. It's very simple what it is that she's saying, and she's broken it up well. I don't like it because it just looks a little bit boring to me to read, and as I'm halfway down there I start getting a bit bored. This lady's, I couldn't fit all hers on, but I actually prefer hers in some way. I actually prefer the fact that she's kind of broken hers up and made it a little bit easier to read and put different contacts. Hers goes on a little bit more at the bottom, about a little bit more about what it is she's hoping for, a little bit more about herself, and then her contact details. The thing they've both got in common is they both have contact details in, and they both clearly tell you what it is that they can do for you. And that's what your about section should be. And if you notice, they write it in the first person, sorry, I. It's all about me. So it's not about, you know, Tracy is this and she does that. That is more your CV. This is just a warm introduction to you. So have a look around, have a look at mine, how mine's written, have a look at how some other people write theirs. I would suggest that you go on to some of these people who charge an awful lot of money to do LinkedIn training and LinkedIn coaching and see what they've done for theirs, and you can probably get some good hints and tips from there. But make sure you put the contact details on there so they know how to contact you. That's really, really important. There are companies who will write these for you. I even write them for people sometimes, but I think they're better when they're done by you, about you. Me personally, I think it's a bit warmer. Just one more thing on this before I move over. Keywords are important on this too. So whatever it is you're doing, so this lady here is a social selling strategist. She's a LinkedIn expert, LinkedIn inbound. Pepper it with your keywords as well, because Google reads this and it will find it. So that's another important point on that. And remember, you've got 2,600 characters. It's not very many. So once you've done your about section, your next one you need to look at is your featured section. You've all got a featured section. You may not have all enabled your featured section, but you've all got a featured section. And this is a section where you can add media and such like to your actual LinkedIn profile, and you can add various different types of media. I would suggest adding no more than 5. As you can see, I just took a screenshot of mine last night to put on this slide here. You only see the first 2.5, and you've got to scroll across to see more. So I would say 5 maximum there is enough, but change them frequently. You don't need to keep the same things on there forever. You can put PDFs on there. So this is our brochure. So that's a PDF. You can put like a slide deck on there if you wanted. That's fine. You can also add a brochure, as I said, on there. If you're looking for a job, you can put your CV on there, your up-to-date CV. I'd say that's really, really important. You could also maybe have some references on there if you wanted to, client references or references from your past jobs. And you can put links to website. I've got a link in there to our YouTube channel, so you can put a link in there. I've also got a link in there to our website. You can put short videos on there, GIFs, You can actually tag particular LinkedIn articles or posts onto here as well. So when you go into your featured section down here, it'll bring up your LinkedIn articles and your posts, and you could put those as a featured article on there as well. Or you could just upload a picture of you in action. A little while ago, I had one of me in there in a classroom delivering a big conference to a couple of thousand people. Obviously, that was more than 18 months ago, but there's lots of different things that you can put in there. You can even add files in there, you know, sort of document files in there. So there's lots of things you can add in there. Change it frequently. The last thing you add is the first thing that comes up. So if you're looking for a job and you want your CV on there first, add it last, if that makes sense. But make sure you make use of your featured section. People do look at those. Use a mix of media. So maybe a PDF document, a slide deck, maybe a link to a website, but make sure you use a mix of those. I've had different things on there. I've gone onto Canva and made a little sort of document on client references that we've had at one point. One of my team at the moment is doing a little document of infographics that we're going to put on there. So there's lots of different things that you can add on there. But make sure you fill in your featured section. A couple of other things on your profile that I want to highlight is your work experience on here. So keep it to recent roles. I was doing someone's profile recently and they said, oh, can you please sort my profile out for me? And they had 22 roles on there. And I was like, you know why? No one's going to look through 22 roles. So you need to sort of keep it to your last, I don't know, 3 or 4 roles on there. You don't need like your whole work history since you were 16 on there. I don't really feel like that's what people are interested to. You can add media onto your roles as well. You can see I've got media onto there. So the same type of media you can add onto your features section. You can add it onto there. And make sure you link it to your company's page on LinkedIn. So whether you're working for someone else or you're working for yourself, if you've got a company page on LinkedIn, make sure that is added onto there. It doesn't need to be a massive section. This your about section is more about you saying, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is how I can help you, this is me. This section is a bit more this is what my job role is, if you like, and this section is a little bit more focused exactly on what it is you're doing day to day, and less about this is my thoughts, this is how I can help you. That is more your about section. So if your experience section needs tidying up, tidy it up. If you've got no media on there, add your media. If you're looking for a new job, you might want to add your CV onto that. If you've done some great work in the company you're in, maybe you want to add a sample of that onto there. If you're running your own business and you have a brochure or a website, maybe you want to link that onto there as well. Fill in your section around volunteering. A lot of people don't fill this in. So do you do any work for charities? Do you do any sort of campaigning? Do you work as a school governor or on the PTFA or as a school soccer coach, something like that? You could put that on there. Do you offer mentoring to young people or mentoring in business networks? Things, anything that you do as a volunteer, put it on your profile. And I'll tell you why. When people read your profile, and they will read your profile, if you're looking for a job, your potential employers are going to really scroll through your profile. Or if you're thinking about doing business with someone, they're going to really look at your profile before they hire you. They're going to look at things like this, and this makes you probably stand out from somebody else, I would say. So don't overlook that section. Whatever you do that's good, shout about it. Put your education on there, but again, put your higher education only. We don't need you to know that you went to St. James Primary School. It's not really that relevant. So put your higher education on there only. Put any courses that you've attended on there. That should have been pushed over a minute. That should say any sort of qualifications you've got, like CIPD or ACIB or any degree. And then you can add media onto this section too. So if you've got any documents to prove that, you know, here's a document to prove I'm qualified in this. Here's something that I got from when I went on that Six Sigma course, or whatever it is. You can add documents onto this section too. So if you've not really filled that section in, fill that in as well, especially like these qualifications and courses. That really helps if you're looking for a job, because it's good for them to say actually they've already had quite a lot of experience and they've already had a lot of sort of training in this area. And then finally, and really, really importantly, your recommendations section. People are shy to ask for recommendations. Okay, ask everybody you know to give you a recommendation. If you do one thing after this session, that's what I want you to do. Think about all of your customers you've done business with, all of your colleagues you've worked with, managers you've worked with, suppliers you work with, you know, ask them for a recommendation. Just send them a little note to say, hey, you know, I am looking at updating my profile and think I need a few more recommendations. Would you mind doing one for me? You can just do that here, and then you type the name in of whoever you want. But give recommendations too, and don't wait to be asked. If there's someone who you've worked with, or there's a client that you've worked with who you think's great, why don't you surprise them and just give them a recommendation without them even asking? LinkedIn really likes you getting recommendations, and it likes you giving recommendations. But do you know who else likes them? Potential clients. Or if you're looking for a new job, a potential boss. They're going to read about you. You know, if you're thinking of coming to my company to do some training, and you look, and I've got 54 people in the last 18 months who've all said great things about me and the courses that my company run, and then you look at another company and they haven't got any recommendations on there, that may just swing it for me. It may just swing it for me. I'm also very suspect about people who have a lot of recommendations but don't really give them. That always tells me something about them as well. So sort that section out. I'm not going to go much more into the profile now. I think I've given you enough tasks to do for your profile as a takeaway from this. I want to move on and talk about something else, and that's talking about growing your connections. Now, I mentioned earlier, ideally, LinkedIn likes you to have 1,000+ connections or followers, whatever you want to call it. Some people have like 40,000. That's going to be much harder from now on. I don't know whether you know, but LinkedIn have limited your connection requests that you can send out now to 100 a week. In fact, somebody on this webinar emailed me before and said, I want to connect you, but I've used up my 100. Can you connect to me? And I was like, I can't. I've used up my 100 as well, because it's Thursday now, isn't it? So we're like, no worries, we'll do it next week. You can only send out 100 invites a week now. You used to be able to send out as many as you wanted. So the days of getting 40,000 connections in a year are gone. I can tell you that right now. Because LinkedIn don't want it to be like that. They don't want like influencers on here. They want people to be building genuine networking, networks who you get to know and you talk to and you do business with. I've never been one for having 20, 30,000 connections. To me, that's more about vanity. Unless I'm selling something that is very global, like a book. If I'm an author, yes, I might want 30, 40,000 connections, but that's not really for me. I'd rather have the right people. So how do we get the right people? Well, I think it's really important that you learn how to use the search function. If you've never heard of this type of search, it's called the Boolean search. Go onto YouTube and have a little look at a video on how to do a Boolean search, but start searching for the right people. So for me, my right people are heads of learning and development, heads of training, heads of HR, learning and development managers. You get the gist. That's who I want to connect with, because they are the people who, number one, I would like to do business with, but number two, my content is useful for. So there's no point in me connecting to a spa manager in India, because I feel like I'm wasting a connection there. If I went to a networking event, I probably wouldn't find them in the room to talk to them. But if there was someone from L&D or sort of HR, they are the people I would be wanting to talk to. So connect to the right people and look for the right people for sure. You get better search functionality if you're on Premium or Sales Navigator, but obviously they cost. So, if I'm doing a proper LinkedIn session, I would now break off here and take you into Premium and take you into Sales Navigator and show you how to search. There are lots of videos on YouTube to show you how to do that, but you can search a lot better and a lot more detailed on Sales Navigator or on Premium. You can go down to like job roles, industries, locations, connections of. You can really sort of narrow it down if you've got that. So use those search functions properly to find the right people. You can also maybe connect to people who you know. People who like and comment on your posts are good people to connect to too. So have a look who's liked on your posts and comment on your posts and see if you feel like they would be the type of people who you would like to connect to. If you're a member of any groups, you can have a look at who's commenting in the groups and who's commenting on your posts in the groups and connect to those people. That is a really underutilized way of connecting to people in my mind. If you're a part of a group that is in your industry or is in your interest level, it becomes obvious that everybody else in that group is predominantly going to be potential connections for you. So have a look in groups and try and connect to those as well. And other people who you may know, like ex-colleagues or suppliers, anybody who you've done business with in the past, that's really important. And if you have a look at this picture here, I'll just put on there, and just remember you are limited to 100 a week though, so choose wisely. You get to go to your third level connections. So you can also in the search bar look for second connections or even third level connections. So here's you here. These are all the people who are connected to you, but you've got a whole bunch of people who are connected to them and another whole bunch of people who are connected to them. And the search terms allows you to go as far as your third level connections. LinkedIn actually has 8 levels of connections, but it only allows you to go to your third level of connection. So start, having a look at who's your first connection. Then you can go into their profile and then you can have a look at some people who they're connected to. They are your second level. And if you click on their profile, that'll take you to your third level connection. So, there's a big market out there of potential connections for you. So start to try to build your connections. My advice is send out 20 connection requests a day. So Monday to Friday, there you go, or Sunday to Thursday if you're in the Middle East, for example. They are your 100 connection requests a week. But do your research first. Don't just connect to anybody. Have a look at the people who, if you were going to a networking event, would you love to speak to that person? They're the ones who you should be sending your connection request to. And when you send your connection requests, personalize them. Okay, so don't just send a hit connect. Send either a little note to say why you would like to connect to them. Do not sell at them. Okay, do not say, oh, I'm connecting to you because I run a training company and we do this and we do that and I would like you to buy my courses. They're never going to connect to you. Okay, so connect to them. Send them a little friendly note to say why you think it would be great to be connected to them. If you want to be even braver, you can send a video note with a connection request. But at the very least, send a note to say why you would like to connect to them, why it will be valuable to them to connect to you as well. Okay, the posting. Once you've got your profile right, and you've got to get that right before you do anything else, trust me. And then you start building the right connections, you need to start posting. You need to start being visible. You need to start being the go-to expert on there. You don't have to post every day. I do, but you don't have to post every day. Start off by saying you're going to post twice a week and then try and build it up. Some people only ever post 3 times a week. Some people post 5, some people post 7. Do you remember we said there was only 3.8 million people who were posting daily? We want, or not daily, regularly. We want you to be one of those. So you need to dip your toe in the water and start posting. And it's scary at the start. It's not once you get used to it. So try and post at least 3 times a week, ideally 5. Post at the right time. So most people come onto LinkedIn in the morning just before they start work, at lunchtime and just after work. So Use hashtags on your posts, but no more than 5. The ideal number, I think, is 3. And you can search for hashtags as well. So in the search function on LinkedIn, you can search for a hashtag. So for example, if I search for sales training, I think there's something like, I don't know, I think there's something like 2 million people who follow sales training. So it's got a big following. But if I search for sales tips, I think there's only something maybe like 100,000 people following that. So it's quite good to have a mix of hashtags. Have a hashtag that's popular by all means, but try and have a niche hashtag too, because you've got more chance of your content being shown to people on a niche hashtag than you have on like a really widely followed hashtag. So I try and have a mix of both, and try and stick to regular hashtags each day. So I always hashtag mine with learning and development and training and development and sales training, and then I normally add another 2 depending on what the post is about. Do not use external links in your posts. So don't copy a URL or a link to YouTube or a link to a website and put it in your posts. LinkedIn do not like it if your post is taking people off their platform. So if you want to put a little video on your post, grab the video from Google or YouTube or wherever the video is on, and then add it as an actual video attachment. If you want to send people off site, put in your post link in the comments and put the link in the first comment on your post rather than in the body of your post. Tag people if you think they may be interested in your post, but don't over abuse that. There's a lady recently who's been tagging me every day on her posts, and I don't know why, and I've just sort of deleted her because she's annoying me. She's tagging me every day in everything. I certainly don't mind people tagging me if they think there's something that I can add value on or something that I'd be interesting to me, but don't overuse it. But tagging people is good. It sort of creates more interest around your posts. Start your post off with a really good heading, something again that grabs people's attention. Then leave a gap of a couple of lines and then put the body of your post, because what you want people to do in their feed is to see a heading and think, what's that about? And then they'll click on it and then they read the rest of it. So let's have a nice, interesting heading that grabs people's attention, and then a gap. And so they have to click and open it to see what your post is about. If you are working for a company and you've got a company page and they're posting things on their company page, you can always repurpose some content from your company page and share a post from there. Not every day or all the time, but every now and again is good. You could ask questions in the post too. So ask for people's opinion. Please don't do what I hate and put on the bottom, agree. Because, if you've got genuine questions that you want, you could ask, hey, I need some advice, or what's your thoughts on this, or can anybody help me? Or people like those types of posts. So you can maybe add a question in. And remember, at all times, you are the expert in your field. So I would say my posting strategy is I tend to post generally 7 days a week. I tend to post 4 or 5 subject matter expert posts, so things to do with training or things I think my audience would be useful for, and then I post 2 to 3 motivational, funny, personal type posts, generally at the weekends. So sometimes on a Wednesday I'll add one as well, but I want people to know that if they follow me, they're going to see content around learning and development which will be useful to them. That's what I want to be the subject matter expert on. So what type of posts can we do? Well, you can do a text-only post. LinkedIn really likes text-only posts, but make sure the topic is engaging and drives conversation. So ask questions in it. You can use photographs. I rarely do a text-only post. I generally always add a photograph on there. But if you're going to put a photograph on there, generally use your Word copy as well. So it's like a text post with a photograph. You could use video. As I said, make sure it's an original file that you upload to LinkedIn rather than linking off to like a YouTube site. And ideally, put captions on that video if you can. So you could put a video post. You could do a document post. I quite often on our company page put a document post, which is just like a PDF file, but it opens it up like a document. So that is really, really useful. You could do LinkedIn Live. So you can go live on LinkedIn. I've been live a few times. You have to apply for that, but you can go live and interview someone or just have a chat with someone. So I've gone live a few times and spoke to some experts on different things. You could give somebody kudos. There's a little kudos post that you can give. So if someone's done well or you want to say thank you, you can do a kudos post. Articles are really important on LinkedIn, and a lot of people don't make use of the articles. LinkedIn really likes articles. So if you could do an article at least once a month, that is something that they really like. Polls, the dreaded polls, you've seen them all popping up in your LinkedIn feed every day. Don't overuse the polls or put ridiculous polls on there, but a good poll once a month can actually gain some quite good information for you. I did a poll a while ago about, how are people feeling about, learning? Are you wanting to keep it online, or are you wanting to go back to face-to-face or blending? And it had over 300 votes on it. But the good thing is I can see who voted what, and that gives me some marketing information to go to those people. And so polls, if they are done correctly, are really, really good. And you can also host events live on LinkedIn, and you can advertise your events as a post like we've been doing for this event, for example, and you can invite people to your event via LinkedIn. I've put a little logo up here called Hootsuite. Hootsuite is a free service whereby you can schedule your posts in advance. So you don't have to come on every morning. You can go on and you can schedule them for like a month in advance, and you can have them going on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. You only get so many free, and then you've got to pay for it. But there's lots of scheduling sites that you can use to schedule your posts. So you can literally go on a Friday afternoon and do your posts for the next week and hit go and forget about them for a week. So have a look at a scheduling tool if you're thinking about doing it and you feel like I just don't have the time to do this each day. They are very, very useful. So what type of things can we write on these posts then? Sometimes people get stuck and they don't know. This is a great little website. It's down the bottom. It's called Answer the Public, and you can go into this website and ask it a question, any question. So I just typed in LinkedIn, and this is all the different things that people are searching for on the internet at the moment. So it gives you some ideas as to like topics and subjects for your posts. So if you're selling if you're selling hot tubs, you can put hot tubs in there, and it'll tell you all the things that people are searching for online in the last 24 hours about hot tubs. And then you could do a post that is topical and relevant. So that's one thing that I think is quite a fun thing to do. There's a really good book called They Ask and You Answer, and it's all about different things that you can put on your posts on social media to try and get inbound sales. So if you haven't looked at They Ask You Answer, have a look at that. And you can, even if you're reading a book, like I'm going to put this up, I've got this book called The Daily Stoic, and there's some really good quotes in there. So if you're reading a business book that's really good, you could just take a picture of the page and use that as a post for that day. So, there are things like that. There's books which help you with ideas for posts, and there's books that you read, business books, that you can just take a screenshot of and put up as a post, and that's great. There are video apps on your phone that you can download for free or for a very small amount of cost. You can just literally record a quick video, 1 minute, about anything you want to say that day. It'll come up with captions for you at the bottom. So on some of these video apps, you can put your colors, your branding. It literally takes a minute to do it, and then you can upload it as a post. You can even add images and music to them. On some of the video apps, you don't even need to be there in person. You can just have your voice talking over some images that you've created on Canva, for example, and then have some music on the background. There's lots of different things you can do on the video apps. There's a great app called Otter that you can download, and Otter is a bit like a dictaphone. So if you've got an idea for a great post, you can just talk into your phone, into your Otter app, and it converts it into a Word document for you, and it sends it to you, so you don't have to type it out. So I love the Otter app. The Otter app is great. You can talk about your week. What is it you've done this week? What were your highs and lows? What were your wins and learns? What have you got coming up next week? Have you got anything interesting coming up? Any interesting client meetings or anything interesting in work? So you can always talk about your week. Personal stories do well. You know, I wouldn't say every day, but once a week to share a personal story. People like to see the person behind the sort of expert. So they're really good. Anything you've won that week? Have you won a new client? Have you had a great reference? Put it on there. Can you elevate somebody else? Is there somebody else's who's done well this week that you can give some kudos to? What about news or updates about your business or industry? Motivational quotes are really good. Not every day, but the odd one really goes down well. Is there any industry articles or knowledge, or do you have, you'll be surprised at what knowledge you've got that you think nobody else is interested in, that actually everybody else is interested in. So anything to do with your industry or your subject matter expert, any articles like that you find. Keep these limited, but the odd controversial post doesn't do bad. Okay, so if you've got a controversial post sometimes that you put up there, sometimes it doesn't do so bad. Just don't put any bad language in your post. And I tend to try and keep away from wherever possible from religion and politics, as they say. You don't ever discuss religion or politics. Just beware though, if you put a controversial post up, that I have done a few times, you will get trolls on there saying some pretty awful things to you. A quick word about trolls. If you are going to start content posting, ignore them. Don't feed them. Don't feed the bear. I have two things I do with a troll, and I get them because I get a lot of comments. I either just block them and delete them. I don't know them. I don't care. Or sometimes, if anybody comments on your post, they're doing you a favor because they're creating the visibility on your post wider. So sometimes I put, thank you for your comment and thank you for increasing the visibility on my post. So, but I don't ever start getting into an argument with them. It's not worth it. And you can do a gratitude post as well to say thank you to someone. So, I've given you there probably in the previous slide 10 or 12 different types of posts you can do. And I've given you loads of ideas for content. So straight away, there's like your next 2 or 3 months of content planned out for you. It's that easy. And it's not all about likes. So don't go on there and think to myself, oh my God, I have just posted and I've only got like one person like it and nobody's made a comment on it at all. Oh, sorry, let me just close that off. Nobody's made a comment on it at all. Don't worry, this is what you want to be looking for. How many people are seeing it? Here's a little video I put. You can see how short it was. It was a 5-second clip and it got 670 likes, which is not bad, and 200 comments, but 22,000 views. Here's another comment. Here's another post I did. It only had 149 likes, had 100 comments, but 23,000 views. That's 23,000 people who are seeing what I have to say. That is like me standing on a stage in an auditorium and 23,000 people listening to me. So don't get hung up on these likes or comments. Likes and comments are important because they make your post more visible to a wider audience. But it's the number of people who view it that matter. The number of jobs I've had from people who say, I read all your posts, I love them, and yet they've never liked or commented on one of them, and I don't know who they are. Very quickly.
We just have a question, and I think it fits in there about, should you post to your connections or to everyone?
Everyone, always everyone. Sorry, I'm talking really quick because I'm conscious of the time and I want to get through as much as I can. In terms of engagement with people, you've got to engage with people on LinkedIn too. So like and comment other people's posts, especially those people who you want to do business with. Start like commenting on their posts and get yourself known to them. Share other people's posts, especially those people who you want to do business with. And, answer your emails every day. And if you don't want to write an email to someone, you can do a voicemail to them on your mobile phone, or you can even send a video to them on email. So, engage with people as much as you can. The last thing I really want to talk about is your social selling index. I want you to all now go online and just do that. Just type in linkedin.com/sales/SSI and you will get your social selling index come up, okay? For those of you who are really brave, do you want to put them in the chat box and let us see what they are? Now, do not worry if yours is 20. Doesn't matter. It might be 20, it might be 40. It will not be 84 like mine, so don't worry about that. It will not be that, okay? What we're trying to do is increase your social selling score as a result of this webinar. So if you go and do everything I've told you to do in the next few weeks, your social selling score will go, okay? Your social selling score looks at 4 areas. There's the orange, so that's how complete your profile is. Have you got media on there? Are your recommendations filled in? Are you posting regularly, especially articles? It likes your articles. How many views your posts get? Your purple one is connecting to the right people regularly. Sales Navigator will help you with this, but it's looking for learning and development managers, training managers, sending the connection requests to the right people. Your green score is how are you engaging with others? Are you engaging on other people's posts? Are you liking and commenting on other people's posts? Your green one is quite heavily about groups as well and how active you are in groups. And as you can see from mine, I'm a bit rubbish in groups, so mine's not very high. And your blue one, this is your easiest one. This is building relationships. So this is how good you are at replying to your inbox, basically, and answering your inbox. Your easiest one to get up is your blue. And then I would say these two next. This is a pretty tough one. If you're above 70%, and you're also looking at this too, you want to be the top 1% within your industry, and you want to be the top 1% within your network as well. So aim for these top 1% here. Once you get above 70%, or sorry, once you get above 70 out of 100 on your SSI score, LinkedIn likes you a lot. And it starts making your post more visible to more people. You're going to struggle to get above 80 without having Sales Navigator, I'll be honest with you. I don't have Sales Navigator at the moment and I'm keeping it above 80, but it's tough going. If you have Sales Navigator, you should be able to get it just above 80. You're probably never going to get above 85 unless you're on here every day for a couple of hours. But anything above 70 is great. And anything below 70 is easy to get to 70 within a couple of weeks or months. So have a look what you are now, and then all these things I've told you will put you in good stead for getting that higher. There are lots of things that we haven't covered on this session that we could still talk about, and I've just listed them so that you're aware of how much more there is to know on LinkedIn. There's a whole piece to do on turning connections into leads, a whole piece to do on how to be active in groups, how to set up your own groups, how to get the best out of groups. Not even touched on company pages and how good they are and what you can do about those if you run your own business. LinkedIn Live's another whole bag, which is a great tool. Events and how to run events on LinkedIn, how to use Sales Navigator, how to look for jobs on LinkedIn. If you are a recruiter, how to find people on LinkedIn, and then how to utilize LinkedIn Learning. They're all subjects that we deliver, but which we haven't had time to talk about on this. But I hope you've picked up loads of tips to start you on your journey. So what's next? Well, Hannah will be running lots of other free webinars on Upskill Marketplace. I'm sure I'll be helping her. I've already done 2 for her. We offer lots of bespoke training and coaching, not just on LinkedIn, on loads of different things. If you go to our website here, we've just put a new free resources section on there. There's videos, downloads, over 100 things on there for free. There's also loads of things on the Upskill Marketplace. The last thing I want to ask you to do before I answer questions is, if you put your camera on, you can hold it up to my QR code at the bottom and you can link to me if you've not used your 100 connections this week.